Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Boyd County Board of Education Special Board Meeting, February 25th, 2021. The Boyd County Board of Education adopted a resolution on March 24th, 2020 with regard to meetings held on and after the adoption of the resolution and subject to limited exceptions as described during the present state of emergency and under KRS 61.840. The board shall conduct its meetings in conformity with the procedures set forth in KRS 61.826 for video teleconferencing of meetings. Therefore, this meeting will be by video teleconferencing and may be viewed by the public live at our YouTube link provided or by going to our website and clicking on the link provided there. Due to the extended power and water outages countywide, our Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021 regular Board of Education meeting was postponed until Thursday, February 25th, 2021. This is a virtual meeting. The Boyd County District Finance Corporation will meet in a special session in concert with the special Board of Education meeting Thursday, February 25th. We'll now have the roll call. Tammy Pruitt.
Here.
Mindy Stanley.
Here.
Randy Stapleton.
Here.
And Lisa Wallen.
Here.
Okay. Call this meeting to order. Time being 6:01. We'll now have the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now have the reading of the board goals. All students will be active, self-motivated, lifelong learners. All students will graduate and demonstrate the skills and the knowledge to support productive citizenship. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the special board meeting?
So move.
I'll second.
Mindy? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. The purpose of this meeting is to consider adopting a resolution authorizing the issuance of school building refunding revenue bonds for school building purposes and for school building revenue bonds for school building purposes. Do I have a motion to recess our regular Board of Education meeting and convene the Boyd County Schools District Finance Corporation meeting?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Time being 6:02. Okay, we'll call our special meeting to order, the time being 6:02. Let's confirm our officers for the Boyd County School District's Finance Corporation. A board chairperson as president, board vice chairperson as vice president, superintendent as secretary, board treasurer as treasurer. We'll call the roll of the officers. Linda Day, president, here. Tammy Pruitt,
Here.
Bill Boblett,
Here.
and Scott Burchett.
Here.
Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the Boyd County District's Finance Corporation meeting?
So move.
Tammy,
Second.
Mindy, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. We'll now have our dialogue with Scott Burchett, our District Finance Officer, and Lincoln Theinert, Vice President of Roth, Sinclair and Associates of Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay, I'm going to kind of turn it over to Lincoln pretty much on this, but at the same time, Lincoln came to me with a possibility that we could refinance some of the bonds that are actually fully SFCC, School Facility Construction Commission paid, but they will save us down the road for a possible bonding issue later on. So Lincoln can kind of explain that a little bit better. It's about $32,000 or so in savings along the way. So.
That's basically it in a nutshell. So our service to your district, always ongoing, is to look at all your outstanding bond issues for any possibility to refinance. Even though we're here tonight to talk about the Series 2009 bonds that were originally issued to purchase the land for the high school, even though those bonds were and still are 100% paid by the School Facilities Construction Commission, so you could say they're paid by the state. Even though they're paid 100% by the state, any savings that you could lock in by refinancing those come back to you in the form of a future offer of assistance from that School Facilities Construction Commission. So there is incentive to move forward with the refinancing. Currently, you're paying on average 4.15%. I know as I turn the TV on tonight, this is one of those days where kind of the financial headline is that rates are jumping up. So I'm kind of on the fly adjusting my projections a little bit. One thing that I'll say is that if rates continue to skyrocket like they have today and yesterday, there would be no expense to your district by moving forward unless we were able to successfully sell the bonds and lock in a minimum of, I'm presenting savings of $37,000, but as Scott mentioned, the minimum that KDE would require before we could move forward would be about $32,000. So you would rest assured that there would be no expense unless we could save a minimum of $32,000 net, and that's net savings, net of all of the various costs of issuance of bonds. And we're not extending the maturity out any farther or anything like that. It'll have the same principal and interest payment dates as current. Any questions?
Sounds good.
We like savings.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, anything else from Scott or from Lincoln? Any questions, anyone? Okay, move on to our action items. A resolution of the Board of Directors of the Boyd County School District Finance Corporation relating to and providing for the issuance of $456,000 principal amount, subject to a permitted adjustment of $45,000 of school building refunding revenue bonds series of 2021. The refunding bonds, in accordance with sections 58.180 and 162.120 through 162.290 and 162.385 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes for the purpose of refunding at or prior to their respective maturities the outstanding Boyd County School District Finance Corporation School Building Revenue Bonds, series of 2009, dated December 1, 2009, the prior issue, through the deposit and the investment in the escrow fund of the net proceeds of the refunding bonds, providing for the creation of certain funds to effect the defeasance of the rights of the registered owners of the bonds of the prior issue and the transfer of certain amounts into certain funds, providing for the rights of the registered owners of said refunding bonds and the enforcement thereof, and providing for an advertised public competitive sale or said refunding bond. Wow.
Good job.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
That was a lot. Okay, do I have a motion to consider the superintendent's recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing the issuance of refunding revenue bonds, refunds 2009 bonds?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? All those in favor? Any discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the Boyd County District Finance Corporation meeting and reconvene our regular meeting?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. We'll reconvene at 6:08, our regular meeting.
Thank you, guys. I certainly appreciate it. Scott, if you guys want me to hang around, I'm glad to. That was kind of the meat of the details. I know there's another resolution coming up in the board.
No, later, I know the board has to do their resolution for the bonds, but then also later on, we're doing the KISTA used bus sale thing that Lincoln's involved with as well. But if you would like him to stay, I'm sure he could, but I could handle that. And that's, he wouldn't have to if y'all we have any questions about that.
Okay.
Thank you, Lincoln.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Lincoln.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, tonight we will not have any student and staff recognitions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We do have a request to address the board. Reading Recovery Program update with Melody Craft, Reading Recovery Teacher Leader, Summit Elementary. Hi, Melody.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for letting me update you all on what's going on with Reading Recovery. It's been a crazy year, and I'm not sure what you remember about the first time that I presented to the board about Reading Recovery. So I kind of want to recap and share my screen a little bit and just update you with some things that are going on in our area. So when I met with you guys, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, our district signed an agreement with the University of Kentucky alongside CCLD for the position to be filled to be a teacher leader of Reading Recovery, serving schools in Boyd, Carter, Greenup, Lawrence, and Elliott County. So the training site has been established at Summit, and our site coordinator is Sean Stewart, our principal. And most of our schools in our area are funded through the RTA or Read to Achieve grant. And this was supposed to be the last year for the grant. It actually started way back in 2005 with that goal of supporting schools with intervention that is research-based and that works primarily for grades K through 3. And so there were obviously certain things that schools needed to make sure they had in place, like a highly trained reading intervention teacher. They only had a few selections for reading intervention programs that were approved as short-term and intensive to get those students to reading proficiency. And then the teachers, every RTA teacher has to participate in a variety of required professional development activities. And so actually, at least once a month this year, I've met with the Reading Recovery teachers in our area, but multiple smaller groups here and there and things like that. And that does not include other things that they may have to attend in their district also. But we spend an entire day, at least once a month, for professional development. Now, so this was supposed to be the last year, but there's been some changes. I don't know if you all have heard, but there's some changes coming down the pike in regards to literacy in the state of Kentucky. And Senate Bill 115 is sponsored by Senator West, and it's the Read to Succeed bill. And basically right now it's like a tug of war between funding for coaches and funding for intervention teachers. And so I wanted to be able to share, actually this happened today, and it was pretty exciting to watch. I've never been so interested in watching a legislative session as I was today. But I wanted to share a few of the videos with you, and they're short, so I don't want to take too much of your time. This is Reggie from Fayette County. And so he's speaking his opinion on the amendment that was added by Senator Higdon to keep RTA teachers, which means reading recovery, in place.
Our Read to Achieve program works. In his own words, he acknowledged that it's successful. I want to respond or reply to the senator from Carter's position. I too have visited Read to Achieve programs in my hometown in 18 and in 19. Would have done it in 20, but for COVID. And I've seen firsthand what this program does, Mr. President. That's painful to my students who can't read at all. 6 and 7-year-olds in the Fayette County Public Schools who cannot read. What this program has done over the course of the year in getting those students up to the first grade level is rewarding and it's heartwarming.
And Fayette County is heavily populated with reading recovery teachers. And then one more video from this senator.
Everybody's got the right intent. We need to make sure that our kids are educated. And the way we educate our kids is to have teachers out there. We talk about class sizes, we talk about teachers' numbers, and we talk about test scores. The way this teaches kids is to have those kids and the ones that are falling behind and lagging in reading is a more personalized approach, smaller class sizes, those type of things. If you read in Read to Succeed, it's coaches, not teachers, coaches. Doesn't change the number of teachers. If you want to keep your reading recovery teacher, then the school system itself can find the money somewhere to do that. We're not going to use the money for Read to Succeed, and I'll use part of that $15 million and now $18 million. It's already appropriated. It has been appropriated since, I think, 2005 for reading recovery. The program's done an excellent job, and it's a shame that we've got a program that's really doing a good job, and I hope a lot of you all have been to see these kids, watching the first semester, watching the last semester, see how much better they can read, see what it's done to their self-esteem. Because the self-esteem of those first and third graders that haven't been segregated into a group that can't read and they feel bad about themselves, you're catching them early, you're doing those things. It's a program that works. Reading recovery, it's a program that works. Read to Succeed, they think works. We don't know it works here in Kentucky, but we think it works. So we'll take the $15 million away from reading recovery. We'll take it away from those teachers, and we'll give it to coaches. What this does without this amendment. I'm not saying that Read to Succeed is a bad program. I haven't studied it that much, but I know that we need smaller class sizes. I know that we want all of our kids to be able to teach. And when we talk about the 20,000 or 200,000 kids that are in that age group, it's not 200,000 that need an extra push, an extra literacy push to learn how to read by grade 3. We've got 15,000 there right now. We need another 15,000, there's another 50,000, but we're already going to put $3 million more into this program. We've got a successful program that everybody, the Senator from Hart and everybody else has said works. It works. It teaches those kids. Let's keep that program. Let's keep those reading recovery teachers. Because they're doing a good job. It's worked. We've had it in place since 2012. The one thing teachers don't like It's for us to come up here and decide we want to tell them how to teach, and we change it every few years. We need to folks, we got a lot of catching up to do from the last year. We thought our team was behind last year in reading. We're even more behind. And the only way they're going to catch up, a lot of it, big percentage of them, is personalized training. And once again, I'll say this doesn't hire teachers, it hires coaches. There's no more teachers in there. Takes away those teachers that are doing their personalized training right now. That have done a good job and everybody's very fun. So I'd encourage everybody to vote for the amendment. Because that's the best way to try to help our kids become literate by the end of the third grade.
All right, so you heard from those senators who feel really strongly about reading recovery and have seen the success in their areas. I got to see Robin Webb also speak for it, and they voted today. And it was 31-2, and 31 was in favor of keeping RTA teachers intact because we need direct services to those students, and it works. So that was really exciting. And so now we're halfway there with this bill, and I'm not sure exactly what the next steps will be. I'm sure somebody from UK will inform me because I'm legally ignorant in that arena. But it's exciting, and I hope that they find a way to combine the best of both worlds to make this work. Because what will happen is if they don't keep RTA in place, a lot of these RTA teachers, just because funding is such an issue, could potentially go back to the classroom, and direct services will be removed for so many of our kids. And so, but it was so good to see that so many legislators were on board for it and want to keep it. So fingers crossed that works. Okay. Just a real quick breakdown of how the professional development system works in reading recovery. So the delivery system is that it starts with the university trainers at UK. And there's multiple universities across the United States and every state in the nation. But UK is our training site for our area. And so teacher leaders are trained at UK, and then and the university trainers are teachers of students also. So they're teaching students while they are training teacher leaders. And then teacher leaders still teach, and they teach other teachers. And then we have our reading recovery teachers. And, at the end of the day, it's just a partnership where we're all speaking the same language, and we're making huge impacts in our schools. And you see this behind the glass there. That's such a core piece of the professional development in reading recovery, where we utilize a one-way mirror. And I'm going to show you a picture of that because that's exciting too. It's finished. And so we utilize this as a really good tool so that we can learn from each other, and we can have discussions while a live lesson is happening on the other side of the glass. They can't see us, but we can hear and see everything. And it's really powerful. And I'm hoping that Summit can use this to also develop our elementary teachers in areas of even math, in small group mini lessons in math and things like that. It's just such a great thing that we really need to take advantage of in our district. So construction of the wall. So here's just some pictures of them working on it and the progress that they've made. And then here it is now. So you can see you've got benches and chairs. I think there's enough for about 15 people there. Of course, it'd be moved back, and we turn the lights out and watch a lesson. And I invite all of you guys to come at some point this year to watch a lesson. And if you don't mind, I can send some dates out, and maybe you guys can let me know what works for you. But, we want you guys behind it and to see the great things that are happening. This is just a picture of a Zoom session with some of the teachers that I have in training. I have a training class every Tuesday night from 4 to 7. And so these are some of the girls in my training class, and they are from all over the state. Some are down close to Tennessee, and I've got 2 from Carter County. But they're just spread out, and we're training virtually this year, which has been challenging, to say the least. Okay. I want to talk to you about kindergarten readiness in Kentucky. Okay, I know this has a lot of numbers on it, but really the main one I want you to look at is the very first one, all students. If you look right here, this is the Brigance scores that shows what percentage of our students are kindergarten ready, okay? And if you look at it, back in 2013 and 14, it was 49%. And if you look all the way across, it's really not changing much, and we were at 51% in 2019, 2020. So I would venture to say that our new Brigance scores that we will give this coming year are going to be significantly higher because of the pandemic. So the need is just great. Also looked on Kentucky's website, the Kentucky Department of Ed website, and I gathered this information from our elementary schools in our county. And so this shows the schools, and I try to do it by school color a little. But anyway, over here is what you really want to look at, okay? We had a high percentage rate at most schools in giving the Brigance that year. And so what you want to look at is this is the percentage in this last column that is ready for kindergarten. So the school that I see that jumps out at me is only 30% of the kids at Catlettsburg were deemed ready for kindergarten. And it's just so eye-opening to me to look at across our district, and what can we do about reading intervention early, in our schools so that we start to change the course that these kids will take. Because if, they're not caught early, we know it's just so hard to close that gap the older that they get.
Absolutely.
And again, just kind of reiterating what I said, we have to catch them before they fall. Reading recovery is for the lowest achieving first graders. It's data driven, 1-to-1. And it's supposed to be used as a good core supplement to good core instruction. I will tell you this year, reading recovery teachers we're supposed to be the supplement, the safety net, okay? And this year with COVID, so many of our kids have not had that strong core instruction because we're not in school. And that's been really difficult, and we've seen a difference in the level of our students' progress because of that. But we're still making gains, and they're still, doing okay, but definitely a difference without that core instruction. And certified, highly trained teachers. You have to be certified to teach reading recovery. It's not a package program. You are taught how to teach reading and writing, how kids learn to read and write, and what that progression looks like as they grow. And so it's nothing you can follow in a book. Kind of talked about all of this. It's really just a moral imperative, and we want our county to succeed. At Summit, we've had it since 2005, and we've had it because of the RTA grant most of those years. So each day, this is a typical schedule for a reading recovery teacher at the bottom of my screen there. And so you see I have 2 students straight at the beginning of the daily schedule, and then a 3rd grade group, 2 more reading recovery students, lunch, and then 3 other small groups. And so you can see with that a reading recovery teacher not only teaches those one-on-one lessons, but she's giving those small groups in K through 3 interventions and tracking them and talking to classroom teachers and parents and getting them on the same page, speaking the same language. And it's really powerful. And we have high discontinuing rates. That means that our kids just successfully finish their reading recovery program without the need for more intervention later. All reading recovery data is submitted through this website. It's the International Data Evaluation Center. And so all the results are collected where I can go back and look at school history since it started in 2005 for Summit right now if I wanted to, but it follows longitudinal data as well. So that's just great information to have. It's proven, and I would share this with you, but I don't want to take too much of your time, but, we just need intervention, and I just think our our district, once we get back in, and we can feel like we're back in the groove and our social and emotional needs are met for our kids, I really would love to see our district amp up, in the area of literacy and move forward. At the beginning of lessons, typically a first grader coming into reading recovery would not be able to read this page right here. That's typically how it is. They don't know very many words. They may not know all their letters or sounds, but at the end of reading recovery, this is average that they would be able to read this at the end. And that's usually less than 20 weeks of a 30-minute lesson each day. So it's fast gains. Reading recovery in a pandemic. So whether we're in school or we're back or we're not, it's been so crazy, but across the state, we've worked really, really hard, to reach our kids in any way we can. And our teachers have had to put in so many hours to learn how to, and you guys as well, even I know, have had to figure out maybe how to use DocuCams, Chromebooks, iPads, and many other things to make these lessons happen. So I just want to share some of the pictures from some teachers in our area. These are a few Carter County teachers here working with students. Obviously, one is in person, but socially distanced, and the other one's virtual. There's lots of virtual lessons here. And I've got to tell you, this little girl right here that you see was in a accident when she was just a toddler and had a brain damage, and she is reading now, and they said she would never be able to read. And this, because it's just stories like this, but she is in care of a grandma, and she is just beating the odds, and that's so exciting. I've got to sit in and watch her in lessons, and it's just amazing to see.
It is.
And so we do a lot of cut up sentences. Usually what we would do in person, we try to modify everything so that we can do it in person. And these kids have been so resilient to try to, and most of them pick up on it pretty quick, what they need to click on and how to drag and all of that. Most of these little first graders have picked up on it. So that's good. But they just love to see our faces, and we're working on every skill that we possibly can. This is a little girl working on her letters, and this is some word work. And so just word chunks can be manipulated and moved around. These are some teachers from Russell. One's doing a virtual lesson, and this one is in person. And this is a teacher in Carter County. She's actually doing a group virtually. Some schools have allowed them to do that, to do groups virtually. I know it's been, seems like it's been different everywhere on what they're allowing and not allowing. And the last thing I want to share is this little guy, Harper. So he has been one of my students this year. He is now finished, and he came in a non-reader and super smart kid, but he wasn't reading. And so he came in one day, and I told him, I said, we weren't actually going to have a real lesson, but I said, I want you to write a sentence for me. I've got a surprise for you. I'll give it to you after you write the sentence for me. And so I told him to write that sentence. I am going to see a shark mouth with teeth. And if you look at that, I said, now I want you to underline the parts in the words that will help you get to other words. And he underlined that R in shark and ow in mouth and E in teeth quickly. And so then I showed him that shark mouth, and he's like Bill Nye the Science Guy. And so he lit up and loved it. But and then on the left here is a message from Harper's teacher to his mom. And this was, 2 weeks ago, maybe now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I guess, he scored 79th percentile. And he was like, non-reader at the beginning of the year. It was like PP, pre-primer. So that's just huge. Very exciting stuff. So, in closing, I appreciate everything that you guys do. I want to keep you updated maybe once a semester if I can. before the year's over, maybe if I could share some data about our air throughout the site, and heading into next year, it would be great. But thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you guys so much. And that is all I have.
Thank you.
Melody, I have a question.
Yeah.
I know you have a teacher at Summit, that's you, but are there teachers at other schools? And you may have already told us this, but I'm just forgotten.
Yeah, no, Summit is the only one in Boyd with it. But part of the, one thing that, we talked about with Mr. Stewart as site coordinator, Mr. Boblet, and actually we had plans of hiring reading recovery teachers this year to put in our elementary schools. So the beauty of having a reading recovery teacher in the building is that they really act as a resource for those primary teachers in your building. And, and they end up really being a literacy expert and such a resource for parents as well. And just a valuable person to have on RTA committees, or RTI committees, in your buildings. But with COVID and just, everything just kind of, blew up. And I totally, understand that. But moving forward, I do want to say that we are actually bringing in revenue from training other teachers. And so other school districts actually pay me to train their teachers, and our school can use some of that reading recovery funds to help with materials, books. We're just getting started, so we don't have a whole lot in there right now, but just something to think about. And I have a lot of materials here, so I could cut down some of the training costs for sure. You know what I mean? And of course, we wouldn't charge. I would not charge to train anyone in our district in reading recovery, but it's a year-long training through UK. They get college credit for it. But something I definitely think that we should consider, and maybe even especially Calixburg, looking at their kindergarten scores. Those Brigance scores were alarming to me, but I think even if we just plugged one in there and see what happens in a year, could be really exciting. It's such a small school, it could have big impacts.
Sure.
Yeah, I love this program. Go ahead, Bill.
I had several conversations about this and had big plans for this school year, going back to last year and having conversations. And we felt that this, back in March, April, May, we were trying to plan for the budget for this school year. Just wasn't the right time. We didn't have things want to go, but I've witnessed her, and Jessica Hensley does reading recovery too at Summit, and witnessed them do great things with kids, and they've had us come over several times and see the work they do with kids. It's amazing how they take those small words and the kids put them together, and you can see the student. I know. Last year, you had us come in early, and I think around mid-year, and see and it was the same child, and see the progress that kid had made is unbelievable. Just like the young man that you showed there, a 70, I think 78, I think it's what you said.
Yeah,
that's huge gains. And
it is. And
in a year that there's been a lot of issues, obviously, right. and then. Just to do that in, a matter of 6 months or so, something like that. So that's,
and really, I really kept him longer. I think had we been in school, he could have probably been out of reading. I really think he could have, because, but without that strong core instruction that he's missing from not being in the classroom every day, it has slowed down.
Sure.
Parents have been so good to bring students here to Summit. Like my parents have just brought kids here, whether as long as Mr. Stewart says, yes, you're allowed to have a kid in the building, they bring their child to me, so that we can have a reading lesson. So that shows too, like these parents want it and they're on board, But
examples, some of the small groups that we've been doing in the district.
Yeah.
I have a question. For example, I'll use Melody. Is her position paid from school, or is it a central office position? Do you know what I'm saying? Does it come out of the
Summit Elementary?
School allocation, or
it's from the reading grant, from the grant.
Okay. Great.
There's a teacher leader grant that pays my position.
Okay.
Yes.
So could we get that for the other schools, or would it be?
Well, mine just pays for my teacher leader position, not necessarily me as a reading recovery teacher.
Okay.
But I will tell you this, depending on what happens with that bill,
That's been huge.
yes, we could potentially have, come together as a district and write grants so that we could fund reading recovery teachers in all of our schools. But that's going to be, I'd say another year away before we know for sure what's going to happen. Because we have one more year of this RTA grant. They won't roll out the new one until after that.
Okay.
So just kind of have to play it by ear. But even if you have, I have some teachers who, I have a teacher in Carter County who teaches art half of the day, but her other half, she teaches reading recovery. You know what I mean? So anyway, we could get creative too, like that.
Well, I had wondered about sharing, half time or 2 days or 3 days between schools.
That's kind of what we had some plans for, Mel.
Okay.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you
We
guys.
like this program, and I think I would like to see a teacher in every school.
I would love to see us come together, and really, your reading recovery teachers, this could be so good. Your reading recovery teachers could provide the PD for the elementary teachers in those buildings, and we can come together and provide it district-wide. We're all on the same page, and if you're hearing the buzz about the science of reading, in the literacy world right now, there's been a big shift to go to a lot of the theoretical and foundational principles of reading recovery on how to teach reading. It's not, I think we're realizing now that our college really didn't prepare us to be great teachers of reading and to understand how, they've given us strategies and, skill. This is what you need to teach. Use this to teach it. But to really understand what's happening in the brain and what to do when they don't understand how to isolate phonemes and, you know what I mean? So it's really eye-opening, and I think we're on the cutting edge of some really good stuff.
From personal experience, I paid for a reading specialist degree, 36 hours, and then I was like, that's it? I didn't know any more than I did before. I still couldn't diagnose, it was very frustrating for me. So this is a very, subject close to my heart, very much so.
That's good to
I
hear.
think I had 2 classes at Marshall back in 1992, and I'm elementary certified.
Right.
Yeah.
Could be teaching that kindergarten, first grader how to read, and I wouldn't have any clue.
Yeah, I was ready to go back and diagnose, and we were going to fix everybody, and it was over. That was it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
So, frustrating.
Too, and
That's scary.
Topeka and Madison are doing this now, but they're training their special ed teachers. And that's where the gaps are. They're just, special ed teachers as well, we know how to modify work, provide accommodations, but a lot of us really do not know, and it's nothing, wrong with the teachers, but you don't know what you don't know. And so they're training special ed teachers in this, literally sending them through reading recovery training to use this with their special ed students and seeing gains. Picadome Elementary actually is, there's been several visits there. They have, they're using that school-wide with their special ed, and have seen decreases in IEPs. So that's something maybe to keep in mind, but yeah. And classroom teachers as well can be trained too. So something to think about.
Thank you so much,
Thank you again,
Melanie.
Mel.
You're welcome. I appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Okay, we will move on to our dialogue topics. We will not have our PSAT score update with Mr. Holbrook due to the COVID pandemic. The test was not given until January 26th. We'll have those test scores available at a later date. We have our community education program, Bill Birch, director, and due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a written report is provided. Okay, we will move on to our reports and communications. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or discussion on that? All right, we will move on to our action items. 12.1, resolution of the Board of Education of the Boyd County School District initiating the refinancing process in order to refund and retire school building revenue bonds, Series 2009 bonds, originally issued to finance the project, confirming the acceptance of an offer of assistance from the Kentucky School Facilities Construction Commission, authorizing and approving the execution of participation agreement with said commission, authorizing and approving the execution of a contract, lease, and option with the Boyd County School District Finance Corporation and any further necessary instruments, and approving the plan of refinancing of said project generally. Do I have a motion to consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the resolution authorizing the Boyd County School District Finance Corporation to issue refunding revenue bonds?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.2, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the master bell schedule for each school for the year 2021-2022 as presented by Marcy Prater, DPP, and approved by each school's site-based decision-making council, SBDM, at Boyd County High School, Boyd County Career and Technical Center, Boyd County Central, Boyd County Middle, Cannonsburg Elementary, Catlettsburg, Ponderosa, Summit, Ramey Eastep, and Boyd County Early Childhood Learning Academy. Do I have a motion?
So move.
I have one question. Was there no way to get those elementary classes later than 7:30? I mean, that's still so early. I know. Is that just how the bus routes could be?
It's bus routes. We'd have to move everybody else to a later start time, which includes a later end time.
All right. I'll second.
Tammy or Mindy? Any more discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.3, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the preliminary allocations to site-based decision-making SBDM school councils for year 2021-2022 as presented by Scott Burchett, District Finance Director. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.4, consider superintendent's recommendation to accept the surplus bus sale bid received for the 1997 International 66-passenger school bus, VIN number BAAN2VH476305, in the amount of $1,000 from Brandon Chris per recommendation of Scott Burchett, District Finance Officer. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Any discussion? I bet he's gonna make it a camper or something.
That's what
That's what I was, when I was looking at the agenda, I was thinking, what he's going to do with that?
Yeah, my daughter would love to have one just to renovate and turn it into like our little, hippie camper.
I second that one too.
Yeah,
Tammy and Lisa, we'll see it down at Greenbow here.
Yeah, we will.
we had
All those in favor?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So we had bid out like 8 different vehicles, and this was the only one. We got one bid, and this was the only one that got a bid. So that's the reason why later on you're going to see the thing about the KISTA used bus sale.
Mm-hmm.
So that way they'll have a lot bigger coverage area to get those sold for us. So
Right. Sounds good. All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.5, a resolution of the Board of Education authorizing the superintendent to act for and on behalf of the board in connection with the sale of used school buses which have been and hereby declared surplus by the board, and the participation of the board in the pooled used bus sale conducted by the Kentucky Interlocal School Transportation Association on behalf of participating school districts. Do I have a motion to consider the superintendent's recommendation to approve the resolution to use the 2021 Kentucky Interlocal School Transportation Transportation Association, KISTA, used bus sale for the 7 school buses needed to surplus, allowing the superintendent to act on behalf of the Board of Education as presented by Scott Burchett, District Finance Officer.
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Any discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.6, consider recommendation of Dara Sue Williams, Special Education Director, to shorten the school day for student number 1 at Cannonsburg Elementary for attendance Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The student has multiple disabilities and exhibits aggressive and impulsive behavior and would benefit from shorter periods of instruction. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.7, consider recommendation of Dara Sue Williams, Special Education Director, to shorten the school day for student number 2 at Cannonsburg Elementary for attendance Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The student has multiple disabilities and due to his medical and physical limitations would benefit from a shortened school schedule. Scheduled to be reviewed as student tolerates longer instruction time. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Mindy, any discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.8, consider recommendation of Dara Sue Williams, Special Education Director, to shorten the school day for student number 3 at Boyd County Middle School for attendance at the Autism Services Center in Huntington, West Virginia, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This student suffers from multiple disabilities and has exhibited extreme outbursts and violent behavior towards staff. Student is making significant progress while attending the center, and future attendance will be reviewed at the next scheduled ARC meeting. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy and Mindy, any discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.9, consider recommendation of Dara Sue Williams, Special Education Director, to shorten the school day for student number 4 at Boyd County High School for attendance at the Autism Services Center in Huntington, West Virginia, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This student suffers from emotional behavior disabilities and exhibits outbursts, argumentative, and violent behavior towards staff. The student has made good progress at the center and benefits from a shortened schedule. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy, discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.10, consider approving a 60-month lease agreement and maintenance agreement between Boyd County High School and Xerox Financial Services, LLC, through Just Tech for a Xerox Altalink C8170 in the amount of $233.51 per month, and a maintenance plan in the amount of $30 per month as requested by Melissa Cox, Administrative Assistant at Boyd County High School. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 12.11, consider superintendent's recommendation to change the certified extra duty hourly rate from $25 per hour to $35 per hour effective March 1st, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy, discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Do I have a motion to approve consider the superintendent's recommendation to approve the consent items as listed?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy, any discussion on any of that? Okay, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. We need to acknowledge our personnel actions for February 2021. Does anyone have any comment or questions on that? Okay. The focus of our business topics for our next meeting will be our Student Code of Conduct booklet with Matt Spade, Darcy Williams, and our Early Childhood Programs Progress Report with Carla Malone, Director. Is there anything else that we need to add? Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Meeting adjourned at 6:52 p.m.
Hey, Bill, I had a quick question.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks,
when
Brad,
we-
by the way.
A student goes to the autism